Ohio State has got their next quarterback. Kansas State's Will Howard is going to Columbus via the transfer portal. He is committed to the Buckeyes. What does it mean for Will Howard? This is a good fit. We like how this could work for Will Howard. Is this a good fit for Ohio State? What does it mean for them going forward in the new Big Ten? We'll talk about all that. First things first, make sure you're subscribed right here to the On3 YouTube channel. We talk college football every single day. If you're a Buckeye fan, we talk about your Buckeyes. We talk about ball, again, all year long, not just during college football season, because the season does not stop. Also follow me on Twitter and on Instagram at JD Pakel. We appreciate y'all for that. Here's the deal with Will Howard. To me, this makes sense, and this is him committing to the structure and stability of Ohio State. Because think about what Ohio State has been for quarterbacks there under Ryan Day. There is the official, unofficial standard that if you play quarterback at Ohio State, you will be a first-round draft pick, and you will be more likely than not a Heisman Trophy finalist. Again, that's not every quarterback, but that is a pretty fair number of quarterbacks that have made their way through the shoe. And so Will Howard now is saying, okay, I see there's tools for success there. I'm surrounded by some of the best talent in the country year in and year out. You understand they're going to have top recruiting classes. They're going to have a ton of weapons in that wide receiver room. You're probably going to have a pretty solid defense to play with. Like, there's going to be some really good resources around you if you're Will Howard. So what does that mean? It means now that the impact you can have is as much as you want it to be. And when you have all the tools for success, what does it come down to? The person using those tools. So Will Howard now, I think, has put himself in position to capitalize on the structure that's in place at Ohio State and to capitalize on the stage that Ohio State is. That's the other part of this. We talk about the stability for Ohio State. Will Howard, when he jumped into the portal, made it clear he wants to go somewhere where he can compete for some hardware. And there were other options out there for Will Howard. He could have gone somewhere else and maybe put up big numbers somewhere else and helped his NFL draft stock that way. But the dude's a competitor. He wants to win. And for Ohio State now, I mean, they pretty much are a walking double-digit win season every single year in Columbus. He wants to be a part of that. He wants to go into a winning culture, a winning organization, and contribute to that and try and bring a Big Ten title, and probably more than that is his goal, back to Ohio State. Real stability with Ryan Day, one of the best winning percentages in all of college football. Now, I would also say for Ohio State, I think this might be a bigger deal for the Buckeyes. As much as it's going to help Will Howard in his draft stock in his last year of college football, you talk about what this means for Ohio State, and there's the obvious, hey, proven commodity. He's played 4 seasons of college football, ton of production. He's thrown for 48 touchdowns. He's got a Big 12 title to his name. Dude's a winner. You watch the way that guys respond to him. He's a leader. Like, all those things are 100% true, but the key variable that I'm watching for me when it comes to Will Howard in Columbus is what he does for you running the football. 19 touchdowns on his career on the ground. But why is that important? Think about Ohio State and what they haven't had at the quarterback position the last couple of seasons. Someone mobile. Someone to keep a defense honest whenever they do a design quarterback run or the read option. Like, not to say C.J. Stroud didn't have a little wiggle to him. Not to say that Kyle McCord wasn't a decent athlete. I'm saying someone that you had to game plan for, or someone that was able to ad-lib when the play broke down and keep his eyes downfield and make plays downfield consistently. And that was a part of his repertoire. Like, I think Will Howard brings that element back to the table that maybe Justin Fields had. I'm not saying Will Howard's as good an athlete as Justin Fields, but I am saying you've been missing that in Columbus. And in the game that matters the most against Michigan, we've seen Michigan have a quarterback in J.J. McCarthy that can escape pressure, break contain, play Pirates of the Caribbean back there and run right and throw left and make a play for you, pick up a first down. That's been the difference maker. That's been, in other ways, I think, the major advantage for Michigan in that game against Ohio State. You're saying, JD, why are we talking about Michigan so much? Because for Ohio State, that is the end-all, be-all. That is the goal. Beat Michigan, win the Big Ten, win national titles. That's it. And so adding this back into your game plan if you're Ohio State, I think could be, again, that edge, that equalizer, whatever you want to label it. I think it's massive for the Buckeyes going forward. And what they haven't had the last couple of years, they now have that in Will Howard. But what I just said, the standard at Ohio State, it's high, man. It's unlike anywhere else in the country. At Ohio State, like, you could be 11-1, and it's a failure of a season if you did not have that. If you did not have that win over the team that matters the most. So for Ohio State now, bringing in Will Howard, I think this says a little bit about some. I think Will Howard choosing to go to Ohio State tells us a little bit of something about what Will Howard has under the hood. Because to be clear, he could have gone somewhere else. Again, he could have gone somewhere else that didn't have the same spotlight, the same expectations. That 9-3 would have been a good year. That 10-2 would have been a good year. Not at Ohio State. He knows the standard. I'll take it a step further. Will Howard understands the pressure he is walking into. And by nature of him committing to Ohio State over other options, I think he's inviting that pressure. I think he's relishing that pressure. I'm excited to see what he does. Because the individuals that invite the pressure are typically the individuals that thrive in that kind of pressure and thrive with high standards and high expectations. So for Will Howard, I think it's a great fit for him, committed to a place that has essentially been a factory for quarterbacks more often than not for getting them into the NFL in that first round range. It's bigger in my mind for Ohio State. You now have a mobile element at quarterback, something you haven't had in the games where you have lost to Michigan. Will Howard inviting that pressure, baby. No pressure, no diamonds. There's a lot of diamonds on championship rings. We'll see how this whole thing unfolds. Appreciate y'all being dialed in. Make sure you're subscribed. Follow me on Twitter and on Instagram at JD Pickell. DM me there. Tweet at me. However you want to do it. Let me know how you feel about likely your new quarterback, Will Howard. Appreciate y'all. Love y'all. Going to keep this party rolling. We will see y'all next time. Hey y'all, thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count. Also be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.